Sam Kamani, today's guest, is doing something wildly innovative. He's helping nonprofits sell non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, as part of their fundraising strategy. He'll also share insights about his superpower connecting with people. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe. Welcome to the Superpowers for Good show. Hello, Sam. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's just a thrill for me to meet you and connect with you and learn more about the inspiring things you're doing.
Thank you, Devin, for inviting me to your show. It's an absolute pleasure to be on your show and to talk about a bit about my background, what we are doing, and how we intend to change the world for better.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into it. Tell us first about your NFT charity project, and then I want to come back and explore a little bit more about you. But let's start with the project.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So, this is not something that I'm doing for work. This is a sort of a side project that I saw an opportunity to help charities out there because as you would know, there are so many amazing people doing amazing work for not for profit organizations. However, one of the main struggles they have is with fundraising. And so I was thinking about, how can I help them without going out in their fields and doing the work, because I have only so many hours in a day, and I can maybe provide my time. And I've done that in past before. I've worked in Thailand in an orphanage, helping them set up computer systems so they can teach kids computers and tech. But I was thinking, how can I
Mm-hmm.
do that at scale? So one of the thing that is that I have some friends in LA who have been running this charity called Gift Global Initiative. So where they go and one of the thing they do is they go and install or give solar lights to low income neighborhoods or areas in South Africa or 12 other low income African countries where they don't have any electricity. So after 6 7 p.m. it is like complete darkness. So they give them solar lights which have no ongoing running costs. And so I was like, okay, how can we fund this? So what can we do? So then we decided to create some NFTs. And when people purchased NFTs, they are on gift NFT dot shop. So when people purchase these NFTs, starting from like even like something like $200 on, and each one will deliver solar lights to even up to 10 different homes. So the other idea was to even reward and make the giver a part of the community, part of the event. So that's what we decided to do. But then instead of just going ahead and launching, we have we are going to release the next iteration of that project, and where we are going to work with some celebrities, because there were some already celebrities, Hollywood celebrities. They were um, giving or sponsoring this charity that I'm working with. So they thought, okay, let's team up all together and launch something much bigger. So that's what we are going to do in the next 2 or 3 weeks. The next iteration. That's why we haven't promoted the first version of the project. So that's how it all started with this charity. But my long-term vision is to make the rails so that any charity can come on, hop on the project, hop onto our website, the nftcharityproject.com, and start creating, or we help them create NFTs, a strategy, how to promote it, and everything from start to finish, so they can start raising some funds, as well as rewarding people who are donating, because they already had a lot of these charities had people who are donating. But why not reward them, make them feel part of it? So maybe it's like a charity giver badge or something like that. So that's how it started, and I am trying to integrate. So since I have like discovered over the last year or so, I have been involved in various other blockchain projects in past, but over the last year I have seen the value of, or the utility that NFTs can bring. So just like you, I also run a podcast. It's a Web3 podcast, or Web3 with Sam Kamani podcast. And one of the things we are doing at the podcast is that we are creating NFTs. So whenever, say, someone talks about it, or whenever I get a message from someone, like the other day I got like a father contacting me, like that his 14-year-old son, he loves my podcast and he's learning so much, and so thank you for doing it and stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. So I'm gonna give him like a supporter badge NFT, and this way, I can start creating a community, and then there will be only, say, sort of 1,000 key supporters of the platform, and they all will have this badge. And so then when I run the event, it could be just for people who hold that NFT in their digital wallet. So that's sort of the vision. And there'll be other clips of the podcast that people will be able to buy and all that sort of thing. So there is a lot of cool things and a lot of cool innovation that will be brought about in nearly every single industry because of NFTs. And I see them as not as just artwork, but as access, because they give access. So in future they will give um, access to the fans, to me, and for me it will give me access and help me recognize the 1,000 true core fans of my podcast out in the wild throughout the world. So yeah, so there's just some sort of a bit of a background how it all sort of started and what we are doing and all that.
Great. Now, we need to step back for a minute because not
Yes.
everyone knows what an NFT is, a non-fungible token. The name doesn't really explain it to someone who doesn't get it.
Exactly. Yes.
So, this is kind of related to cryptocurrency, right? To Bitcoin,
Yes.
because like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, we're using the blockchain technology.
Yes.
But an NFT isn't a coin. Tell us about what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I would love to share with you and explain in normal English, and hopefully, I do a good job at doing that. That people can understand and maybe use it somewhere. So first of all, let's look at what an NFT is, or what a non-fungible token is. Um, so even before we do that, because it hasn't been a word that has been used in our English vocabulary, the word fungible. So first, understanding what is fungible and what is non-fungible. So I see it as non-fungible as sort of more of a unique thing. um, I would like to illustrate it with an example. Say
Okay.
you have a car and I don't own a car. I'm one of your friends. I'm in the same city. I am just visiting you in Florida, and I want to maybe, say, borrow your car, which you're not using at the moment. So I say, can I borrow your car for a couple of days? And I do that. I drive it around for 2 days. I use maybe 10 gallons of fuel or gas, and I refill it with 10 gallons of gas and return it back to you, because the gas in this state, in this example, is fungible. I can replace it with 10 gallons with 10 gallons, and it would not make any difference to you. But I could
Right.
not do the same thing. Your car in this case is a non fungible asset. Your car is maybe 3 years or 4 years old. You have a history with your car. You have maybe some dents. Maybe there is some memories you have in your car of going on road trips and stuff. So I could not go to another sort of a car sales yard and buy another second-hand car and return you a random another second-hand car. Even though it is the same model, but it does not have the same associated uniqueness to it, and hence the car in this case is a non-fungible asset. The fuel was the fungible asset. And in similarly, US dollars are fungible asset. We can swap $1 each, and it's a fungible asset. But two different Michelangelo paintings, even though they are by the same artist, are non-fungible. We cannot just swap. They might not have unique value. They will have unique value. They might not have identical value. And that's what
Right.
non-fungible tokens are basically. And anything non-fungible token, there is no price is just what the demand is. Unlike US dollar, $1 is equal to $1 at all times, but one
Right.
NFT is not equal to another NFT at any time, pretty much, or most times you can say.
Yeah.
And that is the key sort of difference. Just like a house, when you buy, it's a non-fungible asset in most cases if it's a uniquely designed house, because so many factors go into it. And just like that, so many factors go into an NFT, what the value, the worth of an NFT is. There's few more things I would like to share about it, that because most of the NFTs are around artwork, people
Mhm.
often say that I can just take a screenshot of that and I can have that. Why do I need to pay that sort of exorbitant price for some of the NFTs? Not all, but some go even in
Mhm.
millions of dollars. So there is a very good reason for that. Just like you can go to the Louvre in France, take a picture of the Mona Lisa's painting, and I can have the picture of that at home, or a desktop screensaver. I already have that. I can just go to internet and download it. Why do I need to pay that price for it? So that is the same reason why you want to. But that's not the only aspect, because some people might say that that was a physical asset and now you have only digital. But in NFT case, it was a digital asset to start with, and you just have digital versus digital. So then why do you need to? Because this digital asset, an NFT. So we talked about non-fungible, but what about token?
Mhm.
So token is the other aspect of it, because each NFT has a unique, very long token number, and only one of those exist in the world. And these tokens live on your digital wallet. So when you open your digital wallet, that NFT is there. Whereas if you take the screenshot of that image, it won't be living on your digital wallet. And since it's in a blockchain, it gives you the history of who owned it first. Maybe Steph Curry owned it before you,
Mhm.
and that has adds additional value to it. Maybe LeBron James owned it before him, so that adds additional value. So it's also the history of it. Just like a car, the Porsche owned by James Dean is worth a lot more than a Porsche owned by you or I. So
Mhm.
same thing applies to the NFTs as well. And then the token number, I'd like to give one last example, and that is that like when I was in India when I was young, my parents used to take me to see the like the GP or the doctor. And in the doctor's clinic, very boring experience, by the way.
Mhm.
You go there and they have a queue and they give you a token number at the reception, and they had like 100 tokens or something like that, and everyone there would have a unique token number. So they call that person and you go in. So just like that, each non-fungible asset with a token number is an NFT, and everyone has a unique token number. So you can use those token numbers as ticket as access. So Gary V or Gary Vaynerchuk, a lot of people might have heard
Mhm.
of his name. He uses these as access to his podcast or access to his conference, the VCon or the Gary V conference. What happens in that case is that if you own one of his NFT, then you can use that number as the token number as a ticket, and only then you can go to his conference. So if you want to go to his conference, you have to own his NFT, and that's how he is adding value or utility to it. Some other NFT projects, they organize events, and if you want to access that event, you have to be holder of that NFT or that ticket number. So it is gone beyond just the artwork. It is
Mhm.
enabling access, and to whether it's to celebrities, to events, to other things. So that's, yeah, in short, or sorry, in a
Great.
long.
So,
Yes.
yeah, that's right. But give us some examples of how nonprofits could use NFTs. What could the NFT represent ownership of that a nonprofit might have?
Absolutely. So one of the easiest one is to reward the givers or the supporters of that charity, and to create an NFT collection. Then they can show that they are the supporters. They can give that. So they say, hey, you are donating money to us, we will give you an NFT, and then you will have exclusive access to the events, or maybe artwork created by, maybe it's a NFT that is supporting an orphanage, then they'll get the artwork created by the kids of that orphanage or something like that. So there are few different ways which are just the direct sort of giving. Then the other one could be events. So if you want to go to the events of that charity, then you have to be holder of that. And then the other thing that this could do is on the networking side. So how I see it as, the Harvard degree is just like an NFT. The information that is supplied to you at Harvard is probably available online in textbooks, but it does not give you the access to the same exclusive club. You cannot say you're a Harvard graduate if you have never been there. So just like that, being a part of a NFT collection often gives people access to that exclusive club. And that's why the projects that, like a Board Ape Yacht Club, that are worth like $3 billion now, have done really well, is created this community that is, say, if you own a Board Ape Yacht Club, then you have access to this community of few hundred or few thousand other members who own it, and who are all really well-known people. And if you want to be invited or go to that event, you need to own that. So a lot of um, charities do charity events, whether it's a golf sort of a thing for CEOs, or some other art auction, or some other event, like a sort of a wine
A
and dine
gala or
type.
something?
Yes, yes, yeah, exactly right. So the thing is that it could be now done in the virtual world, because now it gives you the scale. Not everyone has the time to fly around and go to a big charity event, but now it gives you an instant recognition, so that if there is a well-known charity, they have done this, and then everyone knows that, to buy this artwork, it's $1 million. That means you have that much money that you have donated to this charity, and then you can use that as your Twitter profile. And so it instantly connects you to this club of 100 exclusive people who have given 1 million to whatever the name of the charity might be. So and a lot of people do donate, as shallow it might sound, but they do donate for the recognition as well. And there is nothing wrong with it being recognized. If you are doing something, it only helps the charity advertise itself more and get more donations and be more well known. So this
Yeah,
is another way that it can leverage.
well, that's great. Well, let's take a step back again now, Sam, and tell us a little bit about how you got here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely, yes. So my background is, for the last 15 years, I've been working in different types of tech startups. My first tech startup was in the e-commerce space. We owned our own brand. We sold things online in New Zealand, Australia, US, some parts of Asia. And then I sold that brand in end of 2015. Then I took like a year, year and a half of sabbatical. I was burnt out a bit, but that exit allowed me to do those sort of things. Then I worked for, went and joined, not worked, went and joined a esports startup, became their sort of COO, and then that company got acquired in 2018. That was based partly in San Francisco. That company got acquired, and after that, I've worked as a CEO for a small software development firm in New Zealand. But all during this, I have been exploring the blockchain space, the crypto space, keeping an eye on what's happening on that side of things. And I've always been very interested in the opportunities in this space. So we've been working on building a separate startup on helping people learn more about financial literacy without spending money or gambling money on Robinhood or anything like that. So removing risk for people so anyone can learn. Um, and that's one of the projects. Then the other thing I do is, I've been running a podcast where I talk about, it's the Web3 with Sam Kamani podcast, where I talk about all these new innovations in Web3 space. Web3 is mostly like a decentralized, blockchain based, crypto projects, AI, virtual reality, metaverse, NFTs, and all those sort of topics. So that is the other thing I do. Yeah, and I write books on tech startups and stuff and all that. So yeah, that's about it. But pretty much one thing led to another. I used to work mostly in on the Web 2 side, helping companies build minimum viable products, or SaaS products, or CRMs and things like that. But then over the last year, I have seen the power of decentralization, and what it is enabling, and the power of tokenization of different assets, just like art and NFT case, and pretty much a lot more other things, that I thought that I cannot no longer wait on the sidelines. I have to jump in and start creating and start building and start working with other smart people in this space. So yeah, that's about it.
Oh, that's great. Now, you're very accomplished, and you're doing impressive things. What do you think of as your superpower?
Oh, my superpower is connecting with people. That's probably it. And it's, once again, it comes down to soft skills. It's not the hard technical skills. Even though I was trained as a developer, it's great to have that technical knowledge, but at the end of the day, it is still people who make decisions. It is still a person making the decision on the other side of the screen, whether they want to purchase this NFT, or whether they want to work with me, or they want to come on a podcast and be a guest on my podcast, or interview me on their podcast. So it is still very, very human side of things. It is still the ability to make connections with anyone, anywhere in the world. That would, I would say, would be my superpower.
It's a remarkable superpower for someone who's so ingrained in technology, so deep into tech. We sometimes think of tech as being the antithesis of human, and you're saying all of the success you have is tied to your ability to connect with people, even though you're a technologist. That's interesting.
I would
Um,
love to share a story about that if you don't mind.
Please,
Yes.
yes.
So I came to New Zealand as a foreign student, international student, and as a young sort of immigrant back in the days, going to school here. And after that, it was extremely challenging looking for work. So I had to do all sorts of jobs, including, clipping tickets at a ferry or a transport terminal, and those sort of. I mean, this is in early, like 2003, something like that, 2003, 2004. And at that time, it's not that I didn't have technical knowledge. I had the degree, I had all that. But then, as a someone who's like a freshman, and a lot of young people would face the same situation anywhere in the world, even now with labor shortages and stuff. Even with that, around the world, if you are young fresh graduate, you face this trouble. And on top of that, you're someone who's an immigrant, who doesn't have the same sort of visa status, citizenship status. You face these issues all around the world. And so I would have applied probably in my career, hundreds and hundreds of jobs. But every job I got, every interview I got, every business that I owned, it's all due to connections, and the connections that I developed using soft skills.
Yeah.
So once again, it is the human connection, or the ability to form human connection, is a massive, massive superpower for anyone.
Yeah. So, how would you coach someone to develop that skill to be more like you?
Oh, I feel like I was quite lucky because of my growing environment, and being a natural extrovert. But having said that, um, um, introverts form some of the deepest connections as well when they do form connections with people. So it is not something that is exclusive. This skill is exclusive to only extroverts or only exclusive to some people. This is something that can be learned just like lifting weights, and you get better at it. It is a lot of it is practice, and I had to learn when I realized that this is what it is, not what you know and who you know. And 60-70% of the jobs, especially at the high level jobs, they are never advertised, and even if they are advertised, they're just for formality. They already have a candidate in mind. So that's why you would never see that a job of on a online portal they're looking for a CEO of Google or something. They are all internally that people have climbed through, or they had connections to get to that in the first place. So it is super vital to learn this skill, and especially if you are in working in charities impacting people. It's all relationship based. The donors have to have that relationship with you to be able to fund. So how do you develop these skills? And the number one thing is take interest in people, and everyone you meet, you ask them genuinely how you can help them. If you have the other person's interest at heart, people know, people can see, and it automatically works. In most cases, people don't need anything. Most people, like you, if you are the accomplished people you are talking with, they are not going to need much. But it sets a good precedent that that you are interested in them, that you are not out there just to sell. It's just like if you get a telemarketer calling you at 6-7 p.m. in the evening, the first instinct is to get away from them. So you don't want someone telling like giving you the same experience at an event, business event, or on connecting with you on LinkedIn or anywhere like that. So that would be the number one thing that anyone can start practicing straight away.
Yeah, that's great. Great tips. Great tips. Thank you so much. Well, Sam, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us tonight. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to visit with you. I say tonight, it's evening where I am, and I think it's morning where you are in New
Yes,
Zealand.
afternoon.
So
Yes, afternoon,
afternoon.
actually. So it's not much difference. 5 hours difference, I think we've
Yeah,
got. But a different
that's
day, different day.
yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm in future.
Time zones are confusing to me. I've traveled all around the world, and I've still never become really comfortable with time zones.
Yes.
Um, but it's a thrill to connect with you. I'm grateful for the opportunity. Before we wrap up, why don't you take a minute and tell people how they can connect with you? Social media, maybe your website, those kinds of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So the easiest is obviously LinkedIn and Twitter. I haven't been that active on Twitter, but I intend to get more active on Twitter. I've been quite active on LinkedIn. So it's just my name, Sam Kamani, SAMKAMANI. Or you can look for my podcast, which is on Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and pretty much every platform. It is Web3 with Sam Kamani. So these would be the easiest places. But if you search for my name, you should find me online. Yeah, it's last name is Kamani, Kamani, and Sam. Yeah, cool.
Fantastic. Well, Sam, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. We wish you every success in this new project with your NFT charity project. We want to see that succeed.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. And it was an absolute pleasure to talk with you and learn a bit more about what you do as well. So thank you.
All righty. Let's do some good. Thank you for tuning in to the Superpowers for Good show. Twice each week, we host changemakers who share their impact, insights, and superpowers. Don't miss another episode. Subscribe today at superpowersforgood.com. That's superpowers, 4, good.com. Be super empowered. Get your copy of the book, Superpowers for Good, as an ebook, audiobook, paperback, or hardcover edition via your favorite online retailer. Interested in having me speak to your company, organization, or association? Visit devinthorpe.com. Then let's talk. Now, keep using your superpowers for good. Together, we can reverse climate change, improve global health, and eradicate poverty.